Hello, welcome back to my channel, Real World Problems. I'm Brian, and today we're going to be talking about FOMO. Okay, what is FOMO? Is that some sort of weird disease or some sort of identity? No, it's fear of missing out. Okay, that's it's usually when you hold out, and let's say you want to buy a stock or something, and you're like, man, $100 a share, that's way too much. I'm gonna wait till it drops down, and then you kind of just you kind of on the fence, and then all of a sudden you see the thing shoot from like 100 to 150, right? And you're like, oh my gosh, now it's getting kind of expensive. It can go up to 200 to 300. I better jump in now before it's too late. So then you jump in at 150, and then what happens? Goes down. No, well, hopefully not. But that's basically what it is, right? It's just you want to jump on the bandwagon, and you want to try to ride that train all the way up to the top of the mountain, right? So you know, are we in the period of FOMO right now? It's starting to look like it. It's getting there, right? I mean, I'm watching these YouTube videos, and man, these guys are nuts. I mean, they're all just FOMOing all over the place, saying you must buy now, or you're gonna be, too late, and you're gonna be broke forever, and well, everybody else is getting rich without you, and stuff like that. So, are we missing out? Uh, let's see. Okay, let's explore. Okay, so let's look back at Bitcoin. On my last video, I showed Bitcoin. It was we had a pump from 28 to 29,000, and if you remember my last video, I was mentioning, was if I had $1,000, would I invest at Bitcoin at 29 at that time? So if you look at the chart here, this is the chart right here. So it went from 28 to 29, and this is about when I did the video right here. So I was like, it could go right back down to 28. You don't know. So I was kind of like, let's hold off. And because you never know. I mean, it's it could go up, could go down, and well, look at this. It went up. So it could have been a good idea to invest, but at the time I was kind of like, well, I think gold's looking pretty good. So if we look at gold, let's see how gold did. You know, gold is, look at that. It's up over 2,000. At the time of the last video, we were at 1980, and so right now it went up about 60 bucks, which is pretty good. I mean, is it as good as Bitcoin? Maybe not, but it's fairly decent considering gold is a very stable investment and low risk. And with Bitcoin, man, you're you're risking it all with that. So yeah, so there's something to think about there. Um, and I was kind of mentioning in the last video, I felt like gold was definitely on a bull run. So I personally don't think, we might not see gold below 2,000 again. I think the days below 2,000 might be done. So but like I said, anything can happen. I mean, I think the only thing that would push gold below 2,000 again is if our economy really crashed. So like Federal Reserve just came out and said that he thinks that this summer is going to be a recession. Well, we've been in a recession, dude, for like a long time now. I don't know what he's smoking, but those guys are always late to the party. They're the ones that said that inflation was transitory and all this other stuff. So take everything they say with a grain of salt. I mean, really, anybody who's invested for any period of time knows those guys are just there for to make the average person feel better. You know what I mean? They just don't want to scare anybody because they don't want to hurt anybody's feelings and all this other stuff. And they don't want any panic happening. Everybody pulling their money out of the banks and stock market and stuff like that. So that's really what's going on. So they just don't want to scare anybody. But me, I got pretty thick skin, so let's scare away, right? So hopefully I'm not scaring any of you guys. Hopefully you guys are tough, and we got put some of that suntan lotion on our skin, to make it a little tougher. I don't know how to make it like leather, right? So okay, so we're looking at gold. And I'm like when I see here, it's up over the 2,000 mark again. I believe we're actually nearing its all-time highs, believe it or not. So that is a very good sign. And really, gold has been undervalued for ever. Because if you look at gold, it's supposed to be a hedge against inflation. And I believe the only reason why it's not is because you do have things like Bitcoin, and there's also a lot of other factors as well. A lot of people say that gold is basically not a hedge because it's at the mercy of the futures market. So there's a lot of speculators out there that invest in gold, think it's going to go up, think it's going to go down, and that keeps gold at a certain rate. But right now we're getting to the point where there's no holding it back. I don't think. I mean, it's basically to the point where if you can't go out to the mountains and mine an ounce of gold for $2,000, and those guys still gotta, make a profit, I mean, you're gonna see gold prices go way up, because if it's costing those miners out there, $2,000 to mine an ounce of gold, they're gonna have to charge 3,000 for that, what I mean? Or maybe even 4,000. I don't know. When I was, I'm a business owner, and usually your costs are, usually it's, a third materials, a third overhead, you got a third labor, and then 10% profit, So if all this is costing $2,000, to make, that means gold should be probably up in the $6,000-7,000 range. So it's could we hit that point? I would probably be skeptical if it went up that high, but you never know. I mean, we had back when I was a kid, gold was selling for $200. You know what I mean? So right now it's 10x that. So could I see gold 3x? I don't think that's hard to fathom. I mean, heck, my if you go and buy a steak or something like that, that's 3x in the store. So why can't gold? It's not that hard to fathom, really. But as far as the FOMO goes, it is something to think about. You got let's look at the Bitcoin chart here. So we got the Bitcoin chart is looking really strong here, but it can do anything. It can go up to 100,000. I mean, or it can go right back down to where it was. But do I think that we're in for that bull run? it's looking more and more like it every day. I would probably say, um, let's look at some of these charts here. Um, okay. But first, let's look at the Dow Jones here. I just wanted to kind of show you this here. So we got Dow Jones had a nice little pump, 1%, 34,000. Um, but you know, over the last month, it's been pretty flat. Okay, so you got the Dow Jones, you got gold here. This is basically the same period. This is a 2 month chart here. Went from 1850 to 2050. So it went up like, $200. You know what I mean? So that's pretty darn good in a couple of months. So, and then we got Bitcoin, you know, and let's see here. Bitcoin, you're looking at the 1 month chart. You're looking at, it was about 28,000 and now it's at 31,000. So really, that's about the same as gold, really. So it's kind of just pumped up and, yeah, so we're looking good in both the gold and crypto. Gold and crypto have a kind of weird relationship. They tend to do similar things. But of course, Bitcoin is definitely more volatile. But they're kind of competing against the same thing. The Bitcoin, the US dollar, and gold are all in competition with each other. So everybody's trying to be the standard currency, basically. So it's so anytime the dollar does bad, gold does good. Same with Bitcoin. Bitcoin does good when the dollar does bad. So anytime you see bank failures or anything like that, financial instability somewhere, Bitcoin does well. So it's kind of interesting. Right now, I think I said in my last video too. They just came out with it's a central bank digital currency. So they're trying to replace the dollar with digital crypto, and that's the U.S. government. So that was kind of interesting. They're trying to now they're claiming that they're just trying to update an old outdated system, that because it takes too long for transactions to clear, like when you swipe your credit card, and pay for something. Those transactions are actually done through third parties and all this other stuff, and it costs a lot of money. So they're trying to use crypto technology to clear those transactions faster. Now, there's a whole lot of conspiracy theories out there about how the government can track all your purchases and could even stop some of your purchases if they wanted, which is partially true. So it's definitely something to think about. But it's all in competition with Bitcoin pretty much, and they're all in kind of fighting amongst each other, but they all need each other as well. So it's kind of a weird relationship. So it's kind of interesting. So something to definitely keep an eye on. Now, if we look at this, so I'm just trying to prove basically that we're in for a bull run, okay, or disprove. So we're looking at Bitcoin here. This is the 1 month chart here. We're looking pretty strong for the 1 month. But if we look for the year to date, or actually, let's look at the 1 year. Okay, so 1 year, if you invested and had one Bitcoin, you'd be at $40,000 when you first invested, and now you're down to 30, 31. So basically, you would have lost a quarter of your investment, which is not good. you know, uh, you know, uh, let's see. Okay, and then now the stock market with Dow Jones, the 1 year chart, you're looking at, if you invested 35,000, you'd be down to 34,000. So you'd have lost $1,000. Isn't great, isn't terrible, but with inflation, you're really losing money. That's not good. So with gold, you're actually up like, not even like $50, but hey, at least you're up, you're not down. So actually gold is the winner, for the last year. But I just like to look at this as far as, to see if we're in that bear or bull run. So right now we're looking at this going down, going up. Let's look at the 5-year chart here. Okay, gold has been really consistent. It's kind of flat these years here. And now I think we're basically due for another pump up. So I believe right now would be a great time to invest in gold. It looks like the last high was all the way back here in 2020. Okay, that was kind of like the height of the coronavirus pandemic, when everybody was freaking out and thinking that the world was going to end and everything like that. So it definitely, I think if once it breaks past that point, which I think it just did. So we got, let's see here. Let's see, it will tell me the top here. It's not. Okay, yeah. So we actually just broke over the high. So yeah, we're in uncharted territory right now, with gold. So that's interesting. Okay. And let's see here. We got Dow Jones. Okay, so we're looking at, all the way back here, 5-year chart, looking at starting about 24,000. Now we're at 34,000. Okay, so we only went up like about 50% in the last 5 years. Which isn't that great, but we also had, this, you can see here, this is where I believe the pandemic really hit us, and it shot down, and then we had a nice little recovery, 2022. Yeah, it's been pretty bad. A lot of this, there's a lot of factors in this. We had elections and all this other stuff. So, it's not the greatest here. So, but I'm looking at this here. You see a nice low right here, and it's kind of coming up. And like I said, with the inflation and stuff, I'm thinking that we have nowhere to go but up, because really, if you think about it, 34,000. If we stayed flat here for the last, oh gosh, 2 years. So we've been flat for the last 2 years. How much has inflation gone up in the last 2 years? Like I said, I don't know if I said earlier in the video or not, but it was basically, so the CPI just came out and they said it was like 5%, just recently. Before, I want to say it was like 8-9% for the year before. So really, it's gone up 14% in the last 2 years. So really, this should be up at least 14%. To just keep up with inflation. Because as long as the companies didn't shrink or do anything like that, really, inflation should be keeping this up. I think that's probably the biggest reason why this hasn't gone down as much as it has, because inflation was so strong. Um, because the companies were actually doing fairly well. Because people were still buying, this economy was still basically kind of strong as far as purchasing power goes, because we had all that free money. Remember that? And but now, we're having some growing pains right now with the money drying up and kind of redoing the financial markets right now. So once all that clears up, I can see this really spiking. I can see this going up. I wouldn't be surprised if it goes up to 50,000, easy. So I'm looking at, 50,000 for the stock market. Probably, I'm thinking might take another year or two before it hits that. I'm thinking 2023 is going to be kind of volatile, kind of slow. It kind of depends on how this financial market comes around. How if people start foreclosing on their homes and more people get laid off and everything like that, this could drag out longer. But if they figure it out and everybody keep their homes and stuff like that, I can see this thing hitting 50,000 probably by 2024. I would say probably in the mid 2024. You probably, I've noticed that usually before a presidential election, you see a nice pump. And like right here, you had the Trump-Biden election here, and we had a nice little pump here just before the election. Election hit, and then it goes down. So I'm thinking that you're going to see a nice little pump in 2024. So that's where my money is. And then after 2024, all bets are off. Who knows after that. But as long as nothing crazy happens, like as long as we don't go any world wars or anything like that, then that's my prediction. Yeah, so as far as gold goes, I would probably predict that, here, the last 5 years were great. It's pretty steady. I was kind of saying, gold could totally hit, really it should be going up to like 6,000. But, I could see it hitting four pretty easy. But it might take a couple of years for that. I'm thinking probably, about end of 2024, maybe, something like that. You could probably see a nice spike. It might not hit 4,000. I'd say like maybe 3,500, 3,600, and then might see a contraction. But I would say if you're really looking for the nice spike, I would probably go with silver. I think silver is due for a huge spike, and then it will crash down like it did in the past. And then Bitcoin. You're looking at all bets are off. 5-year chart here. I think this is very interesting. You got here you got, started at 7,000 and it goes all the way up to, basically 70,000. So that's 10x. And then you drop down to 16 and now we're kind of back on the upswing here. So, I could see this 10xing again, maybe. So you're looking at basically, you know, I would say easy 100,000. So you're looking at 16,000 to 100,000. I wouldn't doubt if you see a nice pullback at 100,000, and then after that, kind of depends on a lot of different factors, but it could, another huge spike, up to 120, 140, 160. I don't know. I think I might be pushing it, but yeah, and then I think you're gonna, if it did shoot up to 160, you'd see a huge drop, and where it'd probably go below 100,000 again. But I could totally see it going to 100,000, and then you see another contraction, kind of like what you see with these charts here. So if this went up to, let's say if this was this chart in the future here, this is 16, and this, let's say about 90, 95, and then it might contract down to about 80, and then, and then shoot up to maybe, it could spike to 120 or something like that. And then you'd see another big crash down to like 80 again or something like that, or 90. And then who knows after that, so it'd be interesting. Those are just my, just ramblings. I mean, I'm not predicting the future at all. I'm not a financial advisor. And so, yeah, I'm just a dude on YouTube that likes to talk about stocks and crypto and gold and silver, what I mean? So hope you enjoyed this video. Please comment down below and make sure to like and subscribe and all that stuff, because it really helps out my channel. I'll also put a link down below for my new Twitter. So go check out my Twitter page to check out all my latest videos, and I'll try to post some comments and maybe even things that I'm investing in and my thoughts on the economy and whatever else, and maybe some funny videos or something, who knows. So we'll go from there. Okay, peace out.
Even when you feel low, you can still go. Even when you feel slow, you can still go. Even when there's no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go. Go, go.